All right. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining today. My name is Joshua Fox, and today we're going to be talking about a brand new introduction to the Aruba product family, the Instant On access points. So this was recently introduced here, and I'm very excited for these access points. And as we go through, I hope I can build some excitement for everybody that's joined in on the call. So first thing I want to do is kind of go over some of the agenda, all the things that I would like to talk to you guys about on these Instant On access points. First thing we're going to talk about is a little bit of the small business trends out there. Now, small business has traditionally been an area that Aruba has not played well in. We are definitely part of the SMB space, but we definitely tackle the mid-market and enterprise sections a little bit better. So this having a targeted product line for the small business, I feel like is going to be a tremendous impact for everybody who can actually start selling these in that space. So after we talk about some of the small business trends, we're actually going to talk about the Aruba Instant Online. We'll talk about the features and the access points themselves. Then we're going to talk a little bit about the competitive landscape. You know, who are we competing against out in this space? We'll go ahead and touch off with some of the pricing on these, as well as promos that you can go ahead and attach onto them to get an even better price on these. And then lastly, we're going to have John from our BTC cover a demo where he'll show you some of the management on these access points, and you can get a good idea of what that looks like. So without further ado, let's get going. So first thing I'd like to talk to you guys about is the small business trends here. So this is just some reports that Aruba was able to get their hands on to kind of get an idea of where small business is today. So 68% of small businesses, that's pretty close to 2/3, definitely have a focus on investing and replacing their outdated IT infrastructures. So already you can tell that's a pretty large amount of those small businesses that we haven't really tapped into yet that are looking to invest and replace their outdated IT infrastructure. Now, 52% of small businesses are increasing their IT budget because of increased security concerns. So we are going to have more budget going towards investing into those outdated IT infrastructures, and we want security to be top of mind the whole time we're doing that. Now, 14% of small businesses directly want to make sure that in the next year that their wireless networking is getting upgraded and replaced, right? So out of that entire huge bucket that we're talking about, at least 1 out of every 10 customers out there, a little bit more than that, are looking to actually replace their Wi-Fi specifically. And then just a cool, interesting kind of note here, 90% of restaurateurs, which is basically people that own restaurants, agree that restaurant technology improves their business efficiency, and that includes upgrading their POS systems and their Wi-Fi. As anybody that is going to any place that is sort of modern today knows, we really want to make sure that there's some kind of Wi-Fi in that environment. I don't like to go to a restaurant or a place and then not actually be able to connect into the Wi-Fi. Now, I'd actually like to ask everybody here on the call, just to make sure, because we are recording this, please mute yourselves. That way the recording retains some fidelity, and people that might be watching at a later date can get everything they can out of the presentation. Let's see. I might be able to actually mute that person. Like I can't tell who's has our hold music on. I'm sorry about that. You guys might just have to listen to a little bit of background hold music. Maybe that'll make my voice sound a little bit better. All right, so what are some of those small business objectives? Some of our customers in the small business line, what are their objectives and what are they trying to do here?
Thanks.
So first thing, they're looking to attract some new customers, right? Small businesses are always trying to get more customers in. The more customers you have, obviously, the more money you can make. So they want to invest in technology and grow their revenue so that they can pull in new customers using that new technology that they might have invested in and placed into their environments. At the same time, we want to improve operational efficiencies, right? We want to make sure that we're getting the most bang for our buck. We don't want to spend money and not get anything out of it. And we also want to retain customers using the same strategies that we're using to attract new customers. And we want to do that by adopting more options for people to be able to transact with us. That would be your payment options. And we also want to provide guest Wi-Fi so that we can collect a little bit of information for the people that we might be engaging with. All right, so let's talk about some of the small business challenges that we actually face out there, or some of the challenges that small businesses might be facing. One, they might be using outdated equipment, right? And that really shows true to some of the trends that we looked at the first part, where we're looking at about two-thirds of people that are out there in the small business section. They are using outdated equipment, so they want to be able to replace that. At the same time, small businesses tend to not have all the revenue that they need to be able to reinvest into technology. So they have a very big budget constraint. So we need something that's cost effective. And as anybody knows, security is a huge threat out there, and it's a very big concern.
Well, I mean, if we're going to do it for testing, we might as well put it on my card.
That's fine.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. Can you guys please mute yourselves there if you're having some additional conversation?
I don't think so, because then we're...
Hey, who's ever talking, please mute yourself. We can hear you. You're talking about a transaction.
Kenny and I can make sure we're doing it right. Mm-hmm. Yes, perfect.
I apologize, guys. I can't really tell
Thanks,
which conversation that is, just because there's quite a few people joined in here.
Sorry.
We look forward to you soon. Please hold the line, and we'll be right back with you.
All right. Sorry about
gentlemen,
that,
real
guys.
quick.
Okay.
Whoever's the host of the meeting, you can actually force mute participants.
Yeah, I think I found the user there and force muted them, so thank you for that. I just couldn't find them there. There was quite a few people, and everybody was coming in as talking, so I just found them and muted that. So sorry about that, and I apologize for the background chatter there. So thanks for being patient with me, and we'll go ahead and continue on here. So as I was mentioning, security is definitely top of mind for anybody who might be looking to invest in their IT infrastructure. And in a small business, this is especially true because one small mishap could actually cause your business to go under. You really can't afford to have a large security breach if you're not a very large company in the first place. All right, so with that, I'd like to actually show you guys a quick picture here and take a look at the new access points that we actually have. There's 5 access points, 3 indoor models, 1 hospitality model, and 1 outdoor access point. We have in our indoor access points a 2x2, a 3x3, and a 4x4. In our hospitality, it's very similar to the entry level of the indoor access points, the AP11, that's the AP11D. That is going to be your desk and wall mount. And for our outdoor, we have the AP17. This is completely waterproof, so you can definitely be assured that you can place that outdoors and outside. Now, all the access points you're looking at here are going to be suited for your 100 users and under types of environments. So now that you've seen some of the hardware here, you've seen what the MIMO streams are, you got to look at what the access points look like. What are the features? What really separates these? Why are they so different? So let's go over some of the customer needs here and some of the features that can address some of those needs. From a simplicity standpoint, we have app-based management, but we also have cloud-based management. These access points can be managed using a desktop going to the cloud, and they can also be managed from a mobile device, much like a tablet or your phone. Now, with that, we're actually not going to be charging you any licensing or subscription fees. Most of the time, to use some kind of mobile app or even get some kind of cloud-based access, probably talking a lot about Meraki here, you need some kind of license or subscription. So your total cost of ownership goes up. We're not introducing anything like that here. So whatever you're paying for up front is really all you're paying to be able to get these guys. Now, we're also able to remotely manage multiple sites from anywhere, anytime. A very important feature for your MSP, and it's quite simple to do so to be able to manage those multiple sites. Now, in terms of growth here, you can manage up to 25 APs here in a network. Now, that's actually a substantially large amount of access points.
Yep.
Sorry about that. I'm just going to go ahead and mute all here.
That we don't have any longer. I mean, we have like one cable. That's it. From 5 meter, I'd have to find out. So what are we connecting?
Sorry about this, guys. Just muting everybody real quick. Oh, okay, sorry about that. I hit mute all, and it looks like I muted myself as well. Hopefully I actually got it this time. So again, really sorry about that, guys. Really apologize for the mute situation here. All right, so as I was mentioning here, these access points can manage up to 20, or I'm sorry, you can manage up to 25 of these access points in a network. Now that's quite large when you start to look at how many people we're looking at targeting here, 100 user network. So that just tells you that we can cover huge, large spaces even if we're going to be supporting a little bit less in terms of the amount of users, and we actually could scale to quite a large number of access points. We also support up to 8 SSIDs. Now that's important because we're probably going to have guest and enterprise networks, but you can also have a couple of other networks as well. Not as many as the 16 that you see on an instant access point, but still quite a bit for what we're actually looking to support here. Now we can mix and match different instant on access points in the network. So you can use an AP17 and an AP11, it doesn't matter as long as you're staying with those 5 access points. Now one of the questions that comes up generally about these is, can I use an instant on access point with my normal instant access points? And the short answer to that is no, you actually can't do that. So these are a separate product line, and they will not be able to work with your traditional instant access points. Now, we these are secure Wi-Fi, and they're easy to expand. They're integrated with WPA3 and built with security from the ground up. You're also going to get some reliable signal here anywhere that you want in the environment. Now, we're also going to give you a 1-year warranty with phone and chat support. Now, I'll go ahead and get into later. I have a slide here that talks about what exactly you get in that 1-year warranty, as well as the hours for the phone and chat support. But you also get access here to the Instant On community. Now, to go a little bit further into some of the more advanced features, we also have Smart Mesh Setup. Now, Smart Mesh is a really interesting feature, and I'm really glad it's in there. I see this being this kind of deployment where you have a very small business, and they might have 2 access points or so, and they have just that little dead spot, and they want to add a 3rd access point, and they just want it to mesh, right? In our traditional mesh environments, this can be complicated setup to achieve. With this, it's one button, one touch, and it's actually really reliable. You get pretty good signal coming off of your mesh access point. So it's a really easy way to extend your network without actually having to run a physical cable to the next access point down the line. Now, we're also future-proofing you here with some automatic software updates. Now, that's not to say the software is just going to update on you without you having any control over it. You can set up schedulers here and have a little bit of control over when those updates or upgrades might come out for your firmware. However, you don't actually have to manually do it anymore. We're going to do this for you automatically. Now, we're also going to be giving you a personal view. This is going to be using the app or the cloud-based management. And this is also a good time to note that that personal view that you're getting there is going to be feature parity across whatever platform you're going to manage it. So you don't have to go to one type of management console for one type of activity and go to another one for another type. You're really going to get the view you want and then use the management type that makes the most sense for you. So we can also manage multiple networks, like I mentioned in the previous slide here. This is going to be really important for MSPs. Now, how many networks can you manage with these? There's not really a set number there. You're going to be looking at the tens of networks, right? So 40, 50, so on, something of that nature. But if you start getting into the hundreds or thousands, it's actually going to be a little bit more complicated to just see the lists that you're looking at inside of the management platform here. It doesn't have all the hierarchical features that you might get in something like Aruba Central. So it's great for managing multiple networks, but a very large customer like, say, a McDonald's or something of that nature might want to steer away from using something this small just because their networks are just so much larger, or I should say they have so many more locations. Lastly, you can customize your guest portal. As we mentioned before, we want to be able to attract new customers, and we want to be able to retain their information so we can interact with them later. So a guest portal is definitely going to be an important part of doing that. All right, so kind of why Instant On? I think some of those features might have really answered a lot of these questions, but I do want to kind of answer them for you as well. It's simplicity at its best. Hassle-free setup, easy to manage, multiple sites, right? We have best-in-class security, we have secure guest employee access, we have integrated WPA3, and we also have the ability to broadly block websites that somebody might be going to. It's an always-on network, very similar to how Instant was in the fact that if an access point fails that was doing some of the control, another access point is able to pick that up. So resiliency is built right into the access point, usually an enterprise feature, but we're able to provide that right here for the small businesses. Now, don't forget, even though we're introducing a new small business line, don't forget the switches, right? We do have a whole Office Connect line. So this is a great way for you to get your foot in the door, talk about a very inexpensive wireless solution that has a lot of the right size type of features that a small business might like to have. And then we can also insert some switches there for PoE for the access points, but maybe even for some other devices they may have in the environment, like cameras and POS systems. So I promised you I'd talk to you a little bit about the warranty, and here it is. Warranty duration is 1 year. It's a 10-day replacement for that, but we get, Aruba is going to be paying for that both ways, right? So that's no cost out of your pocket to return that to the factory or to get the replacement back to you. Technical support is included for 24/7 on the first 90 days, and then after those first 3 months, you're going to have a year of online chat support. And that's just included with the hardware. But if that's not good enough, you need to have that warranty uplift. We do offer that in a 3-year. It comes with 24/7 tech support, and then takes that replacement from a 10-day to a next business day exchange. So I know a lot of customers in SMB, or a lot of our, I should say, competitors in SMB usually don't offer that added level of support. We are offering it, so you don't need to buy it, but it's there for you if you need it. So why should you care? Why does this matter to partners? Well, I think number one, and probably most important to you, is growth, right? This is, as I said at the beginning, a type of space that Aruba traditionally hasn't played in as much. So being able to get into a new customer base means you're getting net new customers, and you're able to expand your engagement and basically grow your customer base. At the same time, we've added the features you need to be able to attach some services to that. So you might be working with a customer that is not managing their own network. Now you can attach your own value-added resources and then increase your revenue. And this is also allowing you to build stronger relationships. You might be working with a lot of new customers looking to get cheap Wi-Fi in their environment that are smaller or haven't done much. Now you can build that relationship, and now you can keep selling into that environment. As they grow, you can keep adding the new components that they need. So we're giving you a way into the door, a way to make more money while you're doing it, and a way to build a relationship and continue that revenue over the long term. So who do we want to use it for? Do it for me customers, right? Customers that don't really have IT staff at all, and they just kind of want wireless that works, and they want somebody that's going to take care of it for them. Or maybe do-it-yourself customers that, somebody that's a small business owner. They own their own business. They're a handyman. They take care of everything themselves. They don't really want to have somebody else in their environment, but they need something that's simple to use. They don't have all of the technical certifications to run a large network, and here you go. This is an access point that you could give to that person. They can get it up and running, use it, and they won't really need to know so much to be able to make that work for them. So what are the use cases? Well, small business networks, as we said, for indoor and outdoor areas. The verticals where you're going to see this are small medical clinics or dental clinics, small independent retails or boutique hotels, maybe a professional office, maybe even a small home. I could definitely see with that smart mesh feature, definitely around the same cost these guys are as an extender that's a good extender. So why not actually get them an access point, keep them all on the same network, and give them those enterprise type features at the cost that they would have paid for, say, a Netgear extender. We're looking at existing customers that are looking to upgrade to Wave 2 Wi-Fi, and they haven't been doing much with technology in a long time. We're also looking to upsell to customers, right? We want to be able to get them that switch and so on into that environment, maybe upsell into some of the services or maybe some of your own services. And so we also want to take out some of our competitors. A lot of that small business or a lot of the small business access points that are available today are just Wave 1, and people are actually refreshing into Wave 2. And we have that option for them as well. And we also are going to be looking to take care of any small businesses that are deploying their competitors. All right, so let's talk about the positioning and competitive here for these guys. I think it's really important to, first of all, talk about instant access points. Instant and Instant On are very close in terms of the actual names of the access point. So when do you use one and when do you use the other? So Instant On, small businesses, small offices, retail, independent, and hotels. But I think the big takeaway here for that is less than 100 users. When you go up over 100 users, it's probably about time for you to start thinking about instant access points instead. The management modes are quite different. With the Instant On access points, it's mobile app and cloud-based. Versus the regular instant access points. You could use the instant itself. You could be using the multi-vendor Airwave, and you might be using cloud-based type of central product. Note the Instant On access points aren't compatible with the other management modes like Airwave and Central. You're only going to be using the mobile app or the cloud-based portal. You want to go with Instant On when there's little or no IT staff, whereas Instant, there's probably going to be an IT or some kind of generalist in the area. These are right-sized for small networks, 25 access points, 8 SSIDs. If you need to go beyond that 25 access points, obviously you're going to want to go with an instant access point. Now, these are 802.11ac Wave 2. Instant access points are also Wave 2, but we also have our AX access points. So for anybody looking at Wi-Fi 6 instead of Wi-Fi 5 or 802.11ax, they're going to want to go instant. Now, the portfolio here it's a little bit smaller, right? It's 5 access points, 4 indoor models, 1 outdoor model. We're going after a specific small business. We don't need to have the huge portfolio we have in the instant access points, which is over 30 models. Support is also right-sized and specific for that group. 90 days of your phone support and then online chat after that. 90 days, the first setting up of the access point is typically when you see the most issues, so we want to be able to make sure that we get them going and then kind of taper off from there. And lastly, only a 1-year warranty on these Instant On access points versus the limited lifetime warranty on the regular instant access points. So this is, again, another positioning slide here, fit to scale, 25 access points, 100 users, up to 128 access points in the instant and up to 2,000 users there, or 2,000 user devices. The scale and the management here, that we're talking earlier about this, but you're looking at tens of sites, 40, 50. But when you start getting up above 100, up to the thousands and so on, you're going to want that hierarchical view that you have with the instant access points. On the future-proofing side, just to, again, to reiterate here, these Instant On access points really don't work with regular instant, and you don't have those other management options. So you're purchasing straight into the environment that you're looking for, whereas the regular instant access points have a lot of different ways you can go. You can introduce a controller into the environment. You could introduce management software like Airwave or Central, whatever you might need to add on. So there's definitely going to be some future-proofing going on the instant side instead of the Instant On sides there. Now, the flexibility here kind of goes back to the future-proofing. They're kind of the same point there, but again, right-sized on the Instant On, but the flexibility to choose your management mode as you grow with regular instant. We do have basic firewall on Instant On, but we have context-driven policy enforcement with regular instant access points, be able to do that by user, device, location, app, or role. With the Instant On access points, we can only really create roles based on SSIDs versus regular instant. We can derive those roles and have more fine-grained policy. Now, on an RF perspective, there is no client match inside of the Instant Ons, and ARM is enabled by default, but you can't do any tweaks if you want to be able to tweak that a little bit. And you can do those tweaks inside of Instant, so if you do need to do some RF optimization, Instant is a little bit better. You do have some visibility into the applications and web portals that people might be using with Instant On, but you get a lot more visibility with fine-grained policies at the individual app level when you're talking about the instant access points. There's not really a lot of services when you're looking at Instant On. However, when you're looking at instant access points, we have things like AirGroup, Clarity, IoT services, Zigbee, all those kinds of different features over with your instant access points. And then lastly, with integration on ClearPass, radius interface only, whereas with your instant access points, you have a lot more integration with ClearPass. So who are we competing against here? Well, mainly two of them, Ubiquiti and Meraki. I know there's more like Netgear dealing, but these are two key competitors that I really want to kind of go over, especially Ubiquiti here. So some of the things Ubiquiti kind of falls short on, one, they're mostly Wave 1 access points. They do have their HD Nano, or sorry, their Nano HD, which is a Wave 2 access point, but for the most part, they really don't have the breadth of access points that we have on the Instant On at the Wave 2 layer. Also, the support here, there's not really good support options for Ubiquiti, right? You can have chat support. Elite support's available, but only for MSPs, and it's kind of hard to get into that group with Ubiquiti. So for the most part, Ubiquiti doesn't really have support. We do have a better warranty, if I do say so myself. Ubiquiti does have a 1-year warranty, but I've heard a lot of stories about that just never comes. That access point never comes when it breaks down. And I've actually heard Ubiquiti reps say, just buy 2. It's not worth waiting for the warranty on these. This is enterprise quality with the Instant brand. Ubiquiti is not quite enterprise quality, and if something fails, that gateway needs to be re-provisioned. Instant On is very simple to deploy. Ubiquiti, not so much. You either need a cloud key or some kind of dedicated PC with software running on it just to make sure that you're up and running. Now, we have all the gateway features just baked in versus Ubiquiti. You have to pay extra for that. We have remote management here. But again, with Ubiquiti, you need those cloud keys. You need to pay some kind of subscription for an Amazon or Azure or something of that nature to deploy the cloud key in if you want true cloud. You don't just have cloud right out of the box, so there is additional cost for that. We have automatic RF optimization. Ubiquiti does not. We have auto mesh with one touch. Ubiquiti does not. We have historical data that we can collect on these access points up to 7 days. Ubiquiti, you need additional hardware. We're also giving a firewall, deep packet inspection, and intrusion detection systems, whereas Ubiquiti, again, you need to buy the gateway. Now look at the cost here, guys. $89 to $215 versus the $79 to $199 you might see in Ubiquiti. All right, so let's look a little bit at Meraki Go. Meraki Go doesn't have too many models here, only 2 models that they're looking at. They don't provide any type of phone support. Warranty is only 1 year on these. They do sell in some countries, but not globally like we can with Instant On. Mobile app only, no cloud on the Meraki Go. There's a subscription cost, $32.73 and $126 for 1, 3, or 5 years respectively. There's no multi-site management there. We have no subscription costs. We have multi-site management, and we have that deep packet inspection. Again, the total cost of ownership here, we're looking at $89, $215, versus the Meraki Go. The total cost of ownership there with that 5-year subscription, even on the cheapest models, is $214. And if you want to keep owning it, you're going to keep paying that subscription. Now, with that, I'm going to go ahead and hand this on over to my good colleague, Mike. Mike, are you on the line here? I don't think I have you. I'm going to unmute some people. Mike, can you go ahead and speak there?
Yeah, I'm speaking. I don't know.
There you go, Mike. We can hear you now.
Okay.
Sorry, I had muted everybody there, and I wasn't sure which call-in user you were. So, yeah, Mike, if you want to talk a little bit to the guys here about the top value promotion and how they can use that, we would really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Just to give you a little bit of background on the top value promotion, it's designed for frictionless transactional deals for proximity and business partners who are focused on SMB. Resellers can receive up to 75% off on MSRP on switches, access points, transceivers, and other Aruba Office Connect brand products. It expires on July 31st. Caveat to it, it cannot be combined with deal registration, PRFN programs, or any other promos. But we do at Ingram, when we are pricing, if you do have a big deal and it can't be combined with top value promo, but it is a lower price, we will take the lower price, or we will take the top value. Whatever the lowest price is, we will take. Also, it should be noted that the top value promo is preloaded into Ingram's system, so you will be seeing that discounted pricing as soon as you pull up the part number and view it anywhere. Okay, just to read sort of what's on the slide for you, it's Instant On APs qualify for up to 35% discount. Okay, I already mentioned it includes discount up to 75% off MSRP for Aruba and HPE Office Connect switches. I did mention that it expires July 31st. I also mentioned the product group unauthorized at Aruba business partner levels. I mentioned the caveats underneath there as well. There is one part on the Instant On portfolio that will not be discounted, and that is the AP15. The Aruba part number is Romeo 2 X-ray 05 Alpha. But other than that, everything in that portfolio that Josh just spoke about has been discounted. Okay, so the top value promo, as I mentioned, will be in place until July 31st. It gives very aggressive discounts. It applies to Instant On, and it's already preloaded into Ingram's system. Okay? I don't have anything more to add on that. Well, maybe one more. The big deal that we're referencing for the time being for the top value promo is 966-72995. I'll repeat that if you're writing that down or making a note of it. 966-72995. Okay. So at this point, I will turn it back to Josh, and I want to thank you for your time. Back to Instant On.
Thank you very much, Mike. All right, so let's go ahead and keep going here. That's really everything here for the main part of the presentation. So in summary, Blazing, it's amazing, right? Remember those words. Hardware is from somebody you can trust. We have really awesome features like Smart Mesh, the ability to manage via the cloud with no type of subscription. You can manage that with an application as well as being able to do some custom captive portals and so on. And it's all at a great price with support from a vendor you trust. With that, I would open this up to some questions here. I do have everybody muted, and we are a little bit behind on time. So I think what I want to do is actually take the questions after we do the demo, so that way you guys can get to see some of the features in real time here. So with that, John, I'm going to go ahead and pass over the ball to you.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is John Bussard. I work out of our Business Transformation Center. I support HPE servers, blade system storage, networking technologies. We do a lot of demonstrations over here. Let me share my screen here. We do a lot of demonstrations, and what I'm going to do for you today is demonstrate to you the Instant On product family. So it's really an easy-to-use product. I would say that really anybody can get their head wrapped around it. You're going to see unified management, whether we're talking about using the cloud-based app, which is what I have up here right now. You can see I'm connected to portal.aruba.instanton.com, and this is kind of the interface. I also have a screen share from my cell phone over here. Let me see if I can move some of this out of the way. And we could also launch the Instant On app on my cell phone, and she'll come up in a second. And you'll notice that we've got a same look and feel over here. Now I'll do most of the management of this environment using the cell phone. So for example, if I break into here, you'll see I've got this one Aruba Instant On network here, and I'm actually connected to that Instant On network over here with this PC. If you open up here, you'll see that I've got, I'm connected on, and actually I'm showing our YouTube site that we have. If you search Ingram BTC, my site will kind of come up, and actually I'm going through an unboxing video right here on the AP11 as well, 11D as well as the AP15. At any rate, this guy is kind of connected to it. We can also, oops, let me back up here. We can also see over here that we can look at the network over here as well. All right, and that could expand on out. And again, we're on the cloud up here. All right, and these are the settings. And on the mobile app, the same thing will happen over here as well if I dig into that network as well. You can see I get the same settings. So it's a like look and feel. If you can manage one, you can set up on the other. So what the scenario I'm kind of setting up for you here is we're going to say that we're a small shop owner. Right now I'm using Aruba Instant On to provide wireless access to the things that I need to run my business within my environment. But I've come to a point to where I need to think about extending my wireless network to maybe have guest user access into the environment. And a part of that I need to do two things. I need to bring on a new wireless network, a new SSID, something that we can connect connect to through our network. And I also, since I expect more users to come on the network, I probably want to add a new access point. So if I'm somebody who has no IT staff, I'm really not very technical in nature, right, how do I go about doing that? Well, we can certainly do that. So what I'm going to do is walk through this mostly through the mobile world, but you'll see as I make changes, the web-based, the cloud-based access is also going to change as well. So let's go into this network site. Now, when I create this guest network, I'm also going to want to do it in a secure fashion. I want to make sure that these users that come on this network don't have any effect on my production traffic in here. So the first thing that I'll note within the instant access point, if I go down to more options down here, I could certainly assign a VLAN to this if I wanted to, so segment people on off. I'm not going to do that for this case, but usually if you want to have a true guest network, you're probably going to want to segment people off. But when I do create this network, I'm going to NAT them off or firewall them off, so they have their own separate network and they're not interfering with things. So let's go through. So I'm going to go create a new network. Right, I'm going to call it, let's see, we'll just call it Ingram Guest. Maybe we'll get some people out there attaching to it. We'll click on the guest. Now notice down here I can set a password if you just want to have somebody access it through a password that you can pass on. Or what it defaults to is setting up a welcome page. And you can actually customize this welcome page pretty well. You see I can go over here and change the verbiage. As far as welcome to the network, so I can change some colors, font sizes. I can go down and change the terms and conditions if I felt like it. I can also change the graphic if I wanted to, so let's go through and do that. Maybe we will put the Ingram Micro logo in there. All right, and we'll go back. Right, back up again, and then we'll click Done. And that's really all it took to create that wireless guest network. If you notice, I go back here, you'll see now that I have two wireless networks here. I have another two up here. All right, so I should be able to connect to this guy without any problem. So let's go down to my client here. And let me pause my video. And if we're lucky, we should see this test network show up. So let's take a look. Let's disconnect from this network. There it is, Ingram Test. We'll connect to that. And then we'll notice that I get my splash page. So that was all very easy to set up, and again, it allows people with little or no IT staff to be able to get access to a network on there. And if you notice real quick, what I'll do is now my access points are on a 192.168.80 network, but if I open up a command line here, we'll do IP config for the real technical Uber geeks out there. You'll see I'm 172.31.98. I'm on that network, right? So what the Instant On access point has done is kind of firewalled off these guys, put them behind a NAT connection, as well as set them up. And again, we could see what we've created over here as well. And what I've created in one, I can modify in the other without a problem. All right, so now that I've got additional wireless access, I'm going to be expecting newer clients to come on board. So I'm going to want to actually expand my wireless access points or add another one to the cluster. And I have one right now, and it's this access point here. Now, setting up a new access point as well as setting up your first access point is similar. In the mobile app, the way I would set up a new environment, a new deployment of Instant On, I'd go down and you'd see there would be it's the same thing as setting up a new site. So I'd go over and I would set up a new site. All right, it's going to ask me to set up a new site. I'm going to click continue. I'm going to give it a network name. So we'll say new network. We'll give it a password. Let's use your micro real quick. All right, I'll click continue. All right, and now it'll ask me to scan out devices. Now it's realizing right now, and I have another access point that I want to deploy as a part of our demo, but it's realizing that the access point that I have deployed is on the same network, and it wants to cluster that with another. Now, if I didn't know or I didn't detect it, and what it'll do is go out and do a Bluetooth scan to see if it can find the access point. Now, if it couldn't find it or Bluetooth wasn't working, I can add the device manually by plugging in the serial number, and then it would add it to the cluster in that environment. But that's pretty much all you need to go through to kind of set up a new site. It'll create the site, it'll create the SSID, and that's how I created that first Aruba Instant On site that I've created. But let's kind of back up and let's actually go through the process of bringing on a new access point within this environment. So let's go back over here so we can see that there's still only one access point. And we'll go back to the mobile phone, and now I can do this in a couple different ways. I can go over here, I can add a new device, right? Or I can go down here and I can click the plus sign and add a new device. And this is similar to what you'll see on the web. If I go over here again, I could select add a new device over here. All right, as well as go into inventory and select add a new device. And again, we get that same menu. So again, similar looking features between the two technologies. All right, so let's go around. Let's search for another access point. I should have an 11D. There we go. There it is. And there's the serial number. So let's add this device. And I can give it a name. If you don't give it a name, it's going to default to the device's MAC address. I'm going to click Finish. And there we go. We've got two devices, two access points, and these will cluster together. Right now it's synchronizing, so it's getting all the information from the other access point, and we just have one right now. And it's synchronizing that information, and we've expanded our network. So if you see, we've done two things, and it didn't take a real lot. We added an extra guest user network. We protected those guest user networks from themselves and from our network, right? And to add the additional user count from the guest network, we added an extra access point. Right. Now, what I configure in one, I can remove in the other. So if I go over here, I can go back to this access point, and I could select remove from inventory.
I'm doing a webinar.
Right, and then we can do the same thing with the SSID as well. So we'll go over or the network itself. So here's the guest network, and I can click delete.
Yep.
And again, that will reflect itself back over inside the mobile application. So again, we're back to one network site, and one network as well as one access point. So that's kind of my entire demonstration. There's not a real lot inside this. We can do some other things. You know, we can look at information that was transferred, how it was transferred inside the environment, like if they're on categories, applications, or if we're maybe looking at some media or something like that. But we get a view into those type of things as well. So that's everything, Josh. I'll pass it on back over to you. The only thing I'll add is just that if you have any customers that want to see this, feel free to reach out to anybody that's on this call, and I'll be able to help you with that.
Like if you're going to get like a
Thank you, John. Very appreciated. Now, everybody, I've unmuted everybody here to open this back up to questions. So if you guys have any questions right now, would be a great time for them, either on the product itself, on the dashboard, whatever you are interested in. We'll go ahead and answer those for you.
And plates and bowls and stuff. Okay. All right. I was thinking I might go.
Do we have any questions out there, guys?
The party tomorrow.
Okay, so I'm not seeing any questions come through here, so I'm going to go ahead and end this off here. Thank you very much for attending our webinar today, and I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your afternoon.
When?